and on behalf of India Broad Dialogue, I welcome you all. As I said, this is a new forum platform which is dedicated to amplifying the voices of our Indian community, and the issues on this India Broad Dialogue would be from technology to trade to social concern. And we will have more such forums in the future. We will be collaborating a lot with all Indian American leaders like you. And for the next forum, because we were working, Lalit ji and I were working yesterday, we're glad to announce that Mr. Ajay Jain Bhutoria ji will be helping us to have a India Abroad dialogue on US-India relationship, trade, and technology. But today's dialogue carries a very solemn purpose. We gather to stand united against violence and in response to the tragic killing of Chandra Nagamallaiah. And as I said, the growing animosity against our community in these times. So this is a moment to reflect, to speak up, and to collectively ensure that such acts of violence are neither ignored or forgotten or repeated. So, as many of you have seen the news and are aware that he used to manage a motel in Dallas, Texas, and he was killed tragically in one of the most gruesome killings on September 10th in front of his wife and his 18-year-old son Gaurav. So we wanted to bring all the voices from our community and have them share their thoughts on the unfortunate killing, and then as a community what we can do so that these acts are not repeated again. And as you can see, we are privileged to be joined by Congressman Sri Thanedar and several distinguished community leaders. Let me also emphasize that this is a non-partisan forum, and our goal is not to make this a political forum, but create a very strong and united voice of NRIs, regardless of what backgrounds and ideology we have. But the goal is to find meaningful solutions. So I encourage everybody to listen, engage thoughtfully, and take inspiration from the commitment of our esteemed speakers today. And together, we can definitely ensure that our diaspora is not only heard, but also empowered to act on issues that matter the most. So with that, let's begin by welcoming Congressman Sri Thanedar to share his opening thoughts on this forum. Sir, all yours.
This is important. Our voices are important. And a lot of times, our community has apathy in saying, oh, I'm not a political person. I don't care about politics. We're also focused on our own lives, our own children, raising our children, living, our work. But look, these things happen. These things happen. This is a danger to, our loved ones, our family. We have seen unprecedented amount of hate currently, hate against Hindus, hate against immigrants, just a ton of hate. I personally, as a member of Congress, continue to receive threats. And it is important for us to be vigilant. It's important for us to speak out, have our voices heard. This is no time to just stay home and do. This is our business. When a member of our community gets such brutally attacked, and this is not an isolated incident. We have seen this over and over again. We have seen attacks on our temples. We have seen, like California SB 403. We have seen attacks on our community. We have attacks on our religion. We have seen attacks on our temples. This is serious issue, and this is increasing. This is not about to stop. And the best way to deal with this is for us to be vigilant. And that's why I appreciate everybody's participation here. I appreciate this. Our voices matter. Our voices matter. It is important that we need to show our activism. We cannot be passive in this. We need to stand up and say this is not acceptable. Now, I serve on the Homeland Security I'm the ranking member of the Homeland Oversight Committee. So, as a ranking member, I have raised this issue with Homeland Security Secretary. I have raised this issue with ICE, and I have raised this issue with local law enforcement. And I'll continue to do that. I'm demanding that this such acts be investigated.
Echo is that the community needs to be more vigilant. The community needs to come out and create awareness. The community needs to have a voice. I was very few voices were raised in last few weeks through all the separate incidents which are happening. Thank you, Congressman Thanadar, for being the voice for the community and bringing it up in the Homeland Security with DHS and everything. But I think we need to be putting, if we know that these things are not right, so keeping a silence is not an option. So I look forward to hearing from all the fellow panelists and seeing. But I think the community needs to raise voice. There's no, I mean, we cannot fear this Trump administration. I sense a sense of fear in the community that, and they're choosing to keep silence. Today, this has happened to one hotel. This can spread to many hotels. Today, they came after H1Bs in such a brutal way, where families are being teared apart. Hopefully, we'll be able to challenge that in the court and put an injunction on that. I mean, so but the temples, I had several meetings with FBI and the Biden administration on the temples issues, and these continue going forward. I mean, and so I think we need to push back and we need to raise our voices, and bringing this platform, putting this platform together on India Abroad as a bipartisan platform to bring all the community voices together and amplify it. It's a great initiative. Thank you so much, and I pray for the family. Thank you.
Up in Frisco, and we were just horrified by this incident. And the congressman and his team, we will always support the Indian community. And while we don't necessarily have answers right now, I love, or he loves, that we have this opportunity to seek ways to unite our community. So just to know that we are always here, and reach out to help us learn how we can work with you.
Thank you so much, Melanie. And this is just out of curiosity, Melanie, has there been an update on the case? Have you heard from the constituents? Have you been in touch with the family?
Namaste, everyone. And, first of all, my condolences to the family. And, I'm with them in this tough time. It was a really brutal killing, murder, and it just sends shockwaves across the community, as we all know. And I want to thank India Abroad for bringing all of us together. And as Congressman Thanedar, as well as other speakers have already discussed, it's a really important time for us to come together. Most of the people may or may not be aware that there was another incident that happened in South Carolina. A lady, a store was robbed and a lady was shot dead, Gujarati lady. So that has also happened, unfortunately. And so this is a pattern that's going on. And of course, do unfortunate situations happen? Yes, but it's the pattern that's happening again and again. That's something that we have to be careful about. So naturally, we need to take action. The community needs to demand justice, make sure it's prosecuted to the full extent of the law, that it's not ignored, it's not diminished. We are not asking for more rights. We're only asking for the same rights. So we should be making sure that we actually have that. And some of our team members in the Dallas area are doing that, making sure that the justice is served. Number one. Number two is we have also compiled a list of temple attacks, and we've been sharing that with lawmakers, with law enforcement, et cetera. So they are well aware of that. This is not just incident. One incident is obviously the murder and stuff, but there are other incidents of temple vandalism, temple attacks. You also have a lot of dehumanization and attacks on social media. And a lot of times, as a couple of years ago, Rutgers University published a report that sort of hate on social media can translate into real life violence. So while these two incidents may or may not be connected, as far as social media is concerned, there are contributing factors of social media impacting people's sentiment about us as Hindus, us as immigrants, us as just people who are stealing jobs, whatever the case is. The type of sentiment that is out there, we all must condemn it. But at the same time, we need to be very vocal with lawmakers and law enforcement saying this is what's happening again and again. Because if it was other communities, and they are doing it today, they are being really, really vocal about whether it's anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, whatever different types of anti-Asian hate, etc. Those communities are being very vocal. Unfortunately, our community is not as vocal. We need to be vocal, and I'm glad that we're all coming together. But that's just the first step. The next step is to how do we act together? How do we make sure that people on this forum and other forums are out there reaching out, making sure it's being condemned properly, but also being prosecuted. So we have to exercise our constitutional rights and make sure that they're respected. Thank you and namaste.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm representing National Federation of India Association, NFIA, and my opening statement is: divided we fall, united we win. Our Indian community, as normally, we all are doing good in our own organization, our own life, but we don't unite and we don't share. So that's one of my point. Everybody mentioned about this thing, and we all know that they should enforce the stricter regulation for the illegal immigrants. We all know that one of the things I like to mention that our Indians, we achieve better goals in this community. We have a big fortune. We are financially and or technically and other positions also. If we wanted to hear we have to earn the respect of the local community. And only way we can do that is share our wealth of finance or our technical or what are the knowledge and the position with the local community. When we earn the respect of the local community, there will be our voice will be heard.
I was very shocked by the tragedy and pretty dismayed at how much these individuals and their families have had to endure. The Indian Americans who own and manage hotels are pillars of our community. They're immigrants who come to this country to work in the hospitality industry, welcoming others to new places, helping them to feel at home. And they exemplify the spirit of the saying Atati Devo Bhava, which is the guest is God. And yet they are incredibly vulnerable to violence. And at a time when Indian Americans are facing increased threats of hate crimes and immigration enforcement, this incident has injected a new kind of fear in our community. So we need to figure out ways to improve public safety. And I think especially for individuals who work at hotels and gas stations and are unfortunately often the targets of violent crime. And these are the people in our community who often don't have the most money. A lot of them are working class, and they often fall through the cracks when we're talking about the Indian community broadly, but they're usually the first to suffer this kind of violence. One thing I think it is important to say, though, is that we do not let fear divide our immigrant community. Something I am very concerned about is that President Trump and the Department of Homeland Security have used the fact that Chandraji's killer was undocumented to blame undocumented immigrants for the tragedy and call for mass deportations. And the fact is, the immigration status of someone has nothing to do with whether they will commit a violent crime. Furthermore, Indians make up the third largest group of undocumented immigrants living in the United States. And they include women like Harjit Kaur, a 73-year-old grandmother who was detained by ICE around the same time Chandraji was killed. She and many other Indian immigrants, both documented and undocumented, remain in ICE detention. And while we should work toward making our community safer, we cannot let rhetoric about good immigrants and bad immigrants poison this discourse, because this will only make us less safe. Our safety as an immigrant community is inextricably linked with the safety of other immigrant communities. And that is a really important thing to think about as we're working toward uniting in order to protect the Indian American community. So my thoughts are with Chandraji and his family. Om Shanti.
I'm very thankful to the people who are in this call today that we are coming together, irrespective of which side of the political spectrum we are on, to talk about something that affects us all. And it is also very important that we stand by the victim's family and As part of that effort, we are actually, on behalf of Hindu Action, on October 9th, we are doing an interfaith outreach event in Dallas. And we are going to be inviting members of all faith groups to come together and work with us to understand more about who American Hindus are and how, misunderstandings, disinformation, often driven by geopolitical issues, and other kinds of hatred can be addressed. So first of all, I have to say that Chandramoula's murder has sent shockwaves throughout the American Hindu community. Just a week prior to that, Hindu Americans and Indian Americans were targeted in a coordinated hate campaign on social media, much of it originating from social media accounts in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. This horrific act underscores a grim reality that when law-abiding legal immigrant community is relentlessly dehumanized, hateful rhetoric can quickly escalate into real-world violence, and this is what is happening again and again across the country. We have to be cognizant of the fact that the rule of law in this country has to be preserved and it should prevail. And anybody breaking the law, no matter whether they are legal or illegal, should not be in this country if they are here illegally. And that is something that we need to push for, because that is what we owe to America. And as Americans, that should be our concern. On behalf of the community and on behalf of other faith groups that are going to be joining us on October 9th in Dallas, I invite you all to be part of this event as well, if you are in that area.
In my television recording of 14 minutes, I didn't call it a murder. I call it beheading. This is very important to make a distinction about this. It is a beheading. It is beheading. It's very cruel, very brutal by somebody who, Mr. Trump said in his tweet, even his own country was not willing to take him back. Why are we allowing people like that to be in this country? And as Utsavji very rightly pointed out, that anybody who breaks the law doesn't belong here. Humanitarian considerations on the others, every country has its own set of humanitarian considerations. I'm going to focus on two things here. I want to thank Congressman Shri Thanedar, who is a friend, who has allowed me to call him Shri, and Melanie on behalf of the other congressmen to be here, that it is your presence, your role is extremely critical. And you are right, Shri, that we must reach out to every other congressman. And I also thanked Tom Swazi, who is my congressman, to raise his voice, and he did, when he said AOC and Mamdani do not belong in Democratic Party. These are voices which need to be recognized. This is a tragedy. And as I said, this Chandra Nagamallaiah could have been Chandra Jha. It could have been Chandra Mukherjee. It could have been Chandra Sharma. It could have been Chandra Tadegali. It could have been any Chandra. So it is us who are being targeted. And I notice a trend in this country that the most peace-loving, a community that is most peace-loving, which contributes so immensely to the community, which is not a law and order problem anywhere on the planet Earth as an immigrant community, we are being targeted. And the reason we are being targeted is because we don't hit back. So we have to kind of raise our voice. And as Satishji is here, NFAI, I had questioned this in my talk, and I want to repeat here. To raise your voice, there are more than 800 Indian cultural associations, from Bajana to Maharashtra Mandal to Tana to everybody. I want to ask them, where is your voice condemning this act? You cannot take the shelter or excuse of 501c3 exemption as it is a political item. It's not a political item. Just because you have a tax exemption status doesn't take away your fundamental right and the freedom of speech. You must condemn. Condemnation is not taking a political positioning. So if we unite, if all the federations of Indian associations from Long Island to Texas to Dallas to Seattle to Portland, wherever, if they condemn the violent act, that will be the voice of the people, of the community. We need to be more vocal. And if we must call out the truth the way it is, if we don't call out the truth the way it is, then we are compromising. And compromising is dangerous. as a very wise man told me, you can't have a compromise with a drop of poison in a gallon of milk. No, and I challenge any one of us here would drink a gallon of milk from with a drop of poison in it. We will not. So I want to say that, Congressman, thank you very much for joining. And I also wanted to say this also, that in addition to our Indian American congressmen, let's take a leaf and learn from Ilhan and Tlaib, the Congress ladies on the other side. You got to admire and appreciate their effort. They stand for their belief of whether it is Palestine or their own belief. I want to urge Sri Thanedar and other Indian Americans to stand up for their own beliefs, for the cause that we are fighting here. And I want to publicly acknowledge Sri Thanedar, who in an event in New Jersey had proudly said that I'm proud to be a Hindu and I'm proud to be standing here as a Hindu. Thank you, Sri, and thank you everybody and Lalit ji for hosting this event. Much honored to be here. Thank you.
This Zoom meeting was very informative. I still am not aware whether this was a personal incident of one individual motel, or whether this is some kind of a trend that is going on against Hinduism or Indian Americans. We need to establish that and verify that, as one of the speakers mentioned that. Regardless, I'm kind of observing a little some kind of a pattern where the current leadership has been encouraging the community to be against the Indian Americans. I hope I'm wrong, but we need to work together. Now, how do we work together for this? My observations are few. One, we have our temples. Our community gives big bucks for the temples, and we have temples all across the United States. We have temples all across globe. So that is our very strong resource. Somehow we need to connect, do some kind of a networking, and I request all the people who are involved with the temple leadership and the temples have a liaison officer who can do public relations and liaison with the community organizations and the congressmen and the outreach with the legislators. So it's very important that we use the resource of the temples. Believe me, it'll work because everyone goes to temple, and that is where we are having solid network and resource. The second thing is I want to congratulate NFIA. Somebody was mentioning about why not all these organizations. NFIA is an umbrella organization, which means umbrella of umbrella organizations. So most of these FIAs and different organizations do come under those. Of course, ideally, all 8,000 organizations should write and be together. Sometimes it's not possible, but then we have an organization like NFI, which is one of the very major umbrella, social welfare umbrella organizations in this country. So they do a good job, but it can always get better and better. So, and of course, finally, the important part is outreach with the legislators. So we need to be heard there, and hopefully we can do a better job in getting across. Once again, thank you, the India Abroad. Thank you, Laliji. Thank you, the whole team.
On this very important dialogue. I mean, your participation demonstrates that our diaspora stands united against violence. And I want to extend our deepest gratitude to Congressman Thanedar and Melanie from Congressman Fallon's office, and all the community leaders, who were here on this short notice, who took time to share their thoughts, their insights, and guidance and support. Your presence reinforces that dialogue is about solutions and just not about politics, and about amplifying the voices of NRIs across the globe. So as we conclude this first ever India Abroad dialogue, let us carry forward the spirit of this forum, nonpartisan, engaged, and committed to addressing issues that matter most to our community. And as I said initially in the beginning, from technology to trade to education and to social issues. So we hope you continue to be part of this ongoing conversation and stand together as a community that speaks up, acts, and supports one another. Thank you again for your time, your voice, and your commitment. Stay safe, stay engaged, and we look forward to welcoming you in our next session. Thank you so much.